Assalamualaikum. Welcome to Member Spotlight by Allied Muslim Chamber of Business. MCOB is a membership-based social enterprise with a mission to create a thriving Muslim business community. It's the power of collective wisdom, continued learning, and thought leadership brought together for Muslims by Muslims. Our core belief is that business leaders thrive when they have access to a supportive community of peers who challenge and inspire each other. Today, we have with us Tariq Hafeez. Tariq Hafeez is an entrepreneur and attorney with 20 years of experience at the intersection of law, operations, and technology. As the co founder and co CEO of LegalEase Solutions, he has played a pivotal role in scaling the company into a legal services and legal tech powerhouse. Welcome, Tariq.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome. Thank you for being here today and being our member. Would love to learn more about your journey, how it has started.
Sure. So first of all, thanks, Kasha, for the opportunity, and been a member of AMCOB now for almost a year, and definitely very happy and excited to see the growth of the organization. So coming back to me, I started my career as a conventional lawyer working at a corporate law firm in Detroit, which is where I'm based out of. And very quickly realized that the traditional legal path was not for me. It just was not something that I found all that exciting or inspiring. And went from working as a corporate lawyer, primarily in the commercial lending space, to switching gears and working with the state of Michigan as an attorney general, assistant attorney general. And in that role, I was actually in the courts, litigating different cases all over the state of Michigan. So that was a very exciting kind of opportunity for me to kind of be maybe more of what you see on TV as being a lawyer going to the courtroom. It was also very interesting because this is in the early 2000s, and I think seeing a Muslim lawyer, especially in some of the more rural parts of Michigan, judges didn't know if I was a lawyer or translator or or if I was a defendant or somebody in the case. So I had some interesting experiences, but overall very positive experiences. And it was during that time when I was driving from like court to court in different parts of the state, I started listening to this is before the podcast. This is like 2004. I started listening to audiobooks, and one of the audiobooks that I listened to was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that's kind of like the seminal book about entrepreneurism. And believe it or not, that book really inspired me to like start thinking about business ideas. I don't really come from a business family per se. Like my father's a physician. Most of my family members are in the professional, sort of arena, physicians, engineers, stuff like that. So it's not like I came from a business background, but that book really inspired me to think about, hey, could I do something with my time that didn't need to involve me, necessarily to create, revenue and ultimately make money? Could I somehow build a business around something I was familiar with? And of course, being a lawyer and sort of seeing how law was being done, both at the corporate law level as well as the state level, law was what I settled upon. And I said, you know what, there's so many inefficiencies, so many opportunities for innovation within the legal system. So let's think about ideas around law. And kind of the next thing that got me thinking about finding sort of outsourced or opportunities to outsource legal work. I was reading a book that I found in my parents' house. It was a publication which basically summarized some of the Supreme Court decisions of India. And I was reading these Supreme Court decisions, and I was thinking, oh my God, like the way they write and the way they think about law, the way they express themselves is very similar to sort of what I've seen in the U.S. Supreme Court decisions. And that got me thinking that, hey, you know what, India could be a good destination for us to find lawyers and train them on U.S. legal work. And till today, I still have my initial notes that I was taking on this idea, on a yellow notepad. Mm-hmm. And I listed down a number of people that I knew that might be interesting for me to talk to. And one was who later became my co-founder, was a friend of mine named Tariq Akbar. Besides sharing the same first name, we had gotten along very well. Personally, and I knew Tariq Akbar had some good connections in India, and I knew he also came from a legal family. Like his uncle was a prominent lawyer, and he had other family members. So I reached out to him and kind of just gave him the spiel that, hey, there's got to be an opportunity to do something with the law, with outsourcing. What do you think? And he pretty much, on that first phone call said, let's do it. Let's figure this out together. So that's kind of how LegalEase got started.
All right. And how long ago was it?
We just celebrated 20 years. So it's been a 20-year journey.
Yes, journey. Okay.
We started in 2005 officially. Yeah, it's been 20 years.
All right. So share with us a little bit more about LegalEase. Like what specific services that you are providing or any sectors that you are focused on from your customers' perspective.
Sure. I think it's important to first kind of tell people what we're not. We're not a law firm, so we don't go out and do legal work for consumers who are looking for, let's say, an estate plan, or they need help with the litigation, or they have a business they want to start. So we are a B2B business. So we cater to other businesses. Primarily, we work with companies that are large enough to have their own internal legal team. Our ideal customer profile is a general counsel or somebody within the internal legal team of a corporation. Okay. And then to a lesser degree, but also important, is we do also provide services to law firms. So we are a B2B service provider to in-house legal and law firms. And we, kind of our motto is we can help you do law more cost effectively and efficiently. Okay. So it runs a gamut of different verticals and different types of work, but at a high level, 6 main areas that we provide support services to in-house teams and to law firms. One is litigation support, and I'll get a little bit more into that. Another major area is contract support. So we do a lot of work around contract review, contract negotiation. The third is a growing business kind of need called contract lifecycle management. So it's basically like an enterprise management tool for contracts. So large corporations typically have a contract lifecycle management tool, or they're looking to implement one. So we help with the implementation and selection of those tools. The other vertical we help in is in compliance. So we have some compliance support services. Oftentimes, general counsel also serve as a chief compliance officer. So it's a related kind of task with legal. Mm-hmm. And then we have something that we call legal operations, which is essentially we staff virtual attorneys for companies that need support short-term projects, long-term projects. So we have attorneys that we source from primarily India, but also Central America and South America, and staff these attorneys with our clients on a full-time basis. It's essentially seconded attorneys, but instead of sitting in your office, they're virtual. And the final vertical we have is what we call legal intelligence, which is legal research. So researching laws of different states, different jurisdictions, global research. And a lot of companies that are growing or have operations in different parts of the world constantly need an understanding of the changes in laws and regulations. So we do that work as well. Our model is, essentially use us instead of using instead of depleting or instead of overburdening your internal resources for this type of work, or instead of going to your outside counsel, your outside law firm, which is very costly, we're an alternative where we can come in and handle these discrete projects or services at a much lower cost and oftentimes a lot more efficiently.
All right. So Share with us some of the instances, or if you can share some examples of
Sure.
where you were able to help your customers and make it made a difference in their lives.
Sure. um, so one of our clients is a large global staffing firm, and for each of their engagements with any of their clients, they need to enter into a services agreement, and these services agreements are fairly complex, but they were taking the staffing companies, upwards of 2 to 3 weeks to get that agreement reviewed and in place, and uh, that time lag, 2 to 3 weeks from sort of the client saying I'm ready to go with you, was creating delay in business and delay in revenue. We helped the staffing company, initiate a process where all those agreements would come to us, LegalEase. We would, we had a predefined kind of rule book, what we call a playbook, on how these contracts would be reviewed, how they'd be negotiated, and our team would then actually review these contracts, these staffing agreements, and make any changes, red lines, and we'd get it back to our, the stakeholder within 48 hours. So within 2 business days, this agreement was reviewed, redlined, and of course, the internal stakeholder at the staffing company would still have to do what they had to do to get it to final. But ultimately, we shaved a tremendous amount of time from their sort of client engagement process just by taking on a review function. And we do a lot of contract review for companies similar to this one I just mentioned. Another space that we do a lot of contract review is in the private equity space. We work with about 3 dozen private equity firms and investment banks, and in that world, you don't talk about your company without having a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, in place.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, these NDAs, as much as they seem like cookie cutter, 4 or 5 page documents, they're heavily negotiated in the private equity space. So that negotiation was also taking a lot of our clients a lot of time, just too much time, where deals went cold, a lot of expense, and we essentially provide a flat fee service where we take an NDA, we review it according to their guidelines, redline it, negotiate it all the way through execution. And this is one area that we traditionally have done, manually using our lawyers, offshore, onshore. But in the last couple of years, we've also been working with AI to, find additional efficiencies using AI and technology. And I think we're finding some good success in, introducing AI into the mix as well.
Okay. Talking about AI as it is the buzzword for the last 2 years, how do you see the industry changing, and how do you see legal ease reflecting on the changes and to do whatever it
Yeah,
needed to be in the forefront?
that is the billion-dollar question. I think for most industries, um, what we believe is um, AI is obviously it's there, and you have to embrace it. There's no way to avoid it.
Mhm.
Um, and where it's now today is probably very different than what it'll look like in the next 6 months to a year and then beyond. A lot of advancements. Um, at the same time, just because technology can do things doesn't mean that people are ready to accept it. So there's definitely a lag between what it can do and what people will accept it to do. In the legal profession, being one of the more conservative professions out there, there's definitely going to be quite a bit of lag, before lawyers truly adopt AI, to its full potential. Um, so we really believe that we need to embrace AI. We need to use it, but the human in the loop, having human beings, lawyers or legal professionals who can interact with AI to provide clients with a sort of a end-to-end solution, it's
Mhm.
going to be the key. And because of our business model, our ability to find really good legal talent at a low cost across the world, and train them to do very discrete legal tasks, we believe that our solution or our service is going to continue to be viable and relevant for some time.
Mhm.
Now, will AI eventually take away some of the work that we do? I think absolutely it will, because we thrive on higher volume, lower complexity types of projects. But I think, like anything else, it'll also create more opportunities, and I think we just are going to continue chasing those new opportunities that come out from the advancements of AI. So yeah, I think it's an exciting road ahead. Definitely see the potential loss of business from AI, but at the same time, I think it'll open up a lot of doors for us as well.
How big is your team right now?
We have around 250 people across the globe, primarily India. We have up until COVID, most of our team was located in a physical office in South India. But then once COVID hit, everything changed, and we also started hiring professionals, lawyers, and technologists across India. And then also started more recently looking at other geographic locations. So we have a team, we have teams India, Central America, and then of course the US as well.
Okay, all right. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing on that. And you mentioned about that PE firms are ones that you work quite a bit with. And also you mentioned about the resource augmentation. Are there any other sectors that you are focused on?
Yeah, another favorite sector of ours is the automotive space. Being from Detroit, the automotive industry is still the biggest industry here. So about like 15 years ago, maybe even longer, we through a series of really interesting connections and somebody that I knew from college introduced me to somebody who introduced me to somebody, ultimately got us into Chrysler. So one of our first major corporate clients was Chrysler. And we fell into a line of work helping them handle these breach of warranty lawsuits. And these lawsuits are sort of high volume, a lot of lawsuits against automakers, claiming a breach of warranty. So we kind of learned that from Chrysler 15 years back, and then in the last few years we've also brought on other large automotive companies, and we help them with responding to defending against these breach of warranty lawsuits. So I think automotive, just by the nature of the business, just has a lot of high volume, lower complexity types of work that our services can be very, ideal in serving. So that's an area that we'd like to continue growing as well, in the automotive space.
All right. And last thing that I would like request you is you have been an entrepreneur for 20 years, and you have worked with a lot of other organizations, companies, corporations, whatnot. What would you suggest to fellow entrepreneurs? What's
I
the
think
one key that you would suggest that that is they have to do it in order to be successful?
I think if I were to think of one piece of advice, I would say staying power. 20 years is a long time. Sometimes I don't know if I'm really an entrepreneur anymore because I've been doing it for so long. But I think having that staying power. If you have a good idea and you validate it, and you know that there's customers out there, if all those things are there, then you got to stick it in. Stay the course. You're going to get curveballs. You're going to have difficulties. But ultimately, if you feel like you're doing something that has value, then it'll eventually work out. Of course, as Muslims, we believe in having the right intentions, and ultimately it's in God's hands. But I think staying and struggling and staying the long course, if you really are passionate and believe in what you're doing, it'll ultimately pay off. Inshallah.
Inshallah, yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Tariq. Thank you for being our esteemed member here with MCOP, and looking forward to seeing your growth in
All
the
right.
coming years.
Thank you so much, and look forward to additional future events, meeting you and others.
All right. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.